a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Hello, and welcome to the show.
I love that you're actually using your real voice for once.
I know! It's been 184 episodes, and I've finally decided not to put on that silly voice.
That silly Australian accent. You've got that kind of weird British accent back again.
I don't know what it is. I'm not good at accents. It keeps changing. Anyway, I think we're going to jump into some Click Picture right off the bat, as we have been doing of late. And Click Picture is a game where we have a bunch of silly, weird stock photos that we found online, and we're going to get a random URL of one of these photos. We haven't seen it yet until we paste it into our Discord. We will describe it. We'll make a game design from it. Let's do it. Trevor is typing.
And I hit enter and it didn't seem to do anything. Hello.
Here it comes. Okay, we have a man with a pineapple for a head holding... holding a silver dollar sign.
Yep.
With a silver pound symbol in his front shirt pocket.
You know what this is?
Or is that's a pound?
Yes,
right?
it's a pound.
Or is it a euro? Is it a euro?
It's one of those two.
Yeah, it's hard to see because you can only see the top, some kind of little curve. I think it might be the euro. But anyway.
You know what this is? This is where the pineapple aliens have actually invaded, like, the Earth. But their whole thing is that they're escaping, like, they've asked to have asylum here. And it turns out that they're really, really good at business.
Are you sure this isn't just a picture of Donald Trump? Because this kind of looks like him.
No, he's got too much hair.
It's true. He's got big green spiky hair. Okay, so pineapple aliens seeking asylum on Earth.
Yeah.
And are very good at business.
Yes. So they've integrated. This is a few years after they've integrated into the system, and it turns out that they've really helped us get into the new version of capitalism.
Oh, lovely. We need a new one of those.
Yep.
This one just is not, it's not oppressing people nearly enough. Okay. Is it a better capitalism in that people are not downtrodden beneath it, or is it a better capitalism in that it creates more wealth inequality for fewer people?
I think it's the former.
Okay, so we try. Okay, are you sure? Because we could set it about these as a satire of these like uber elite, and there's like 5 people now, and 3 of them are pineapple aliens, and they've got all the money in the planet.
Although that could be kind of cool. How about that? That's the secret behind the whole thing. That, like, although this looks like utopia and looks like everyone is actually living well, like the absolute elites are living so far and above.
Is this a game where you're just you're in a room with these 5 people? You don't say right off the bat that literally these are the only 5 people with any money and all the money.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh, it's so great since these pineapple aliens came and fixed capitalism. Look how great our life is.
Yeah.
And then someone opens a window. It's just like wailing and hell on earth.
Oh, what I'm picturing is like you see almost like that scene from Star Wars with Cloud City. Like you see all the clouds and you just see like buildings sticking up out of the clouds. And it's like this beautiful idyllic sort of nature.
And then like the camera goes down below the clouds and
you see like maybe a huge pirate ship sort of break out of the clouds and come up, and it's all like totally ruined.
Like the law. Oh. Right. This is like the tallest building in the city, and it's only the bit above the cloud that's even like still intact, and they just live there with all the money, but nothing else on the planet. The whole planet's just destroyed, basically.
Yeah, and it's when the pirates attack that you realize, hang on, I haven't been outside this building for years. And you can always go into that.
I'm picturing, yeah. I kind of, this is an interesting idea with some good satirical fodder. Because we obviously want to paint these elite in the end as villains, because that's fucking unconscionable.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of kind of twisting that on it, where when you come into the game, it just feels like oh, it's the future. Like, you know, we've got unlimited energy and food and whatever. You know, replicators and the sky is blue and, you know, you see fucking robots like fixing and cleaning things.
You see this beautiful blue sky and, you know, white fluffy clouds just below, like, you know, it's like, wow,
this huge sky. Yeah.
We're living in the sky and it's all
we're
pretty.
We're living the dream. Like the future is real. And then, exactly.
Huge,
a big fucking like
dirty pirate
rebellion ship like breaks through the clouds, attacks. And again, like you're still, at this point, you're maybe like rooting for these people. It's like, oh my God, like who are these criminals?
Yeah.
But yes, as you play, you start to realize, oh wait, the only reason they have this is literally because they have hoarded the planet's wealth to the detriment of everybody else. And finally, people have managed to find the resources to fight back.
Yeah. And not only that, but they managed to make interstellar travel at the same time. Like, the only way that they could actually fly up was, you know, these brand new drives that basically take no fuel because they had no fuel. So they basically.
So not interstellar because that's between stars. But
yeah, but I'm saying that their spaceship can actually do a lot of shit. Like the technology that they created from nothing.
So do you find out, like, how long has it been? Is it that this one family has been living in this penthouse for, like, centuries? Like,
yeah, I think they went to school in this.
That's probably a few generations, but also, like, the technology that they've bought effectively gives them longevity as well.
Yeah.
And in that time, like, the people have been finally managing to, like, organize and unite and innovate and, you know, fight back.
Oh, I don't know whether I want to keep this in the episode or not, but I have a feeling that you've got that sort of thing where your parents have betrothed you to someone, but it turns out to be like your second cousin because it's only your family that's up. Oh,
probably, yeah. Look, I think we do expand it beyond the 5 people we're thinking of. Like, it's a group of maybe, I don't know.
It's a commune of 150 or something like
100, yeah. And these pineapple aliens are mixed in. I think they're rare.
Oh, they're definitely, you know, they're the leaders. They talk to you telepathically because they don't have a mouth.
They don't have mouths, yeah. But their spikes, like, vibrate when they...
Yeah.
They're like spiky stalks vibrate when they communicate.
And you hear it, like, clear as day. And what I'm thinking is there's only 3 of them in this particular tower, and you see some other towers around, and maybe this is just, like, the corporations, basically. Any corporations that can build themselves up above the clouds have sort of got the money.
Yeah.
And they're all run by pineapples.
Good. Yep.
Because they're great at business.
Like that. Yeah.
What would the nemesis of pineapples be?
Just in general?
Yes.
Giraffes or something? Like, what eats pineapples? The reason I said giraffes is because I know that they can, like, eat spiky stuff, can't they? They use their tongue to, like, hey, Google, what eats pineapples?
According to Wikipedia, the pineapple is a tropical plant with an edible fruit and the most economically significant plant in the family Bromeliaceae. The pineapple is
That's not what I asked.
South America, where it has been cultivated for many centuries.
Hey, Google, shut the fuck up.
But I did notice one thing that Google said was that they're the most economically, like...
Yeah.
Like, hang on, that works perfectly.
That's good. Parrots?
Yeah, okay.
Tapirs, whatever. There's a speculation here is that they may have evolved to attract megafauna when they were around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just pick parrots. So parrot-headed aliens also came to the world, and they've been downtrodden the whole time as well.
Okay.
Because I think you know, they were sort of they came here also asking for asylum at the same time, but the pineapples obviously
the pineapples took advantage of the existing, like, capitalist structure, because that was what they were good at. But the parrots happened to be good at, like, uniting masses and leading rebellions.
By parroting the things that people want to hear back to them.
Well,
it starts out with Polly want a cracker, and then it turned into Polly want a revolution.
Polly want a revolution. Fucking episode title right there.
I can't get any better than that. We've got to move on.
All right. We'll move on.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Yeah. So just for those who may not have listened before, we're now moving on to Click Pitch, which is a similar game, but in this case, we have a random word generator in front of us. And on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we're going to get 2 new words actually, because we are playing what we call ramped up Click Pitch, which is an adjective and a noun each. And we will throw those words at each other and turn those into a game design similar to what you just heard.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 3, 2, 1, click.
Padded gown.
Mere flag. Mere is in M-E-R-E, like barely, I guess.
Yeah.
A mere flag.
In a padded gown.
Padded gown. Huh.
I sort of see padded, and I think, sort of like a padded room, but there could be something there in the idea of one thing that I saw an episode of Psych yesterday in which Sean and Gus went into a mental institution.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in there, it seems to be a very hard thing to actually be able to get out, because anything that you say, they basically say, "Oh, this is the ravings of a madman," instead of actually listening to what you say. So the idea of someone being in there and trying to say what actually happened, and they've sort of been falsely brought in there. Yeah,
there's definitely a bit of a trope or a bit of a thing that can be done there, or that is often done there, where if you're committed, and I think this happens in real life, like it's very easy once you've been committed to discount whatever you're saying as, well, you're in a mental asylum, like why should I listen to you? Which obviously is incredibly problematic, but we can certainly use it as a story hook.
Yeah.
So gown, is this someone who
I'm sort of thinking gown is being
like more kind of situation?
No, probably more of a like a robe.
Like a ceremonial sort of thing,
or bathrobe.
Okay. Someone in a padded room in their bathrobe.
Yeah.
Is this an alternate version of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Where Arthur Dent, after lying in front of the bulldozers, was the Vogons didn't destroy Earth to make way for an interplanetary highway.
Yeah.
And was taken to a mental institution.
Because he thought that was what was going to happen. That the whole planet was going to be torn down. So
or something. Yeah, he's still told by Ford Prefect about the wider galaxy and everything that's out there, but then it doesn't happen. And I don't know. The only reason is he wears a bathrobe. Like, that's all I've got. But a Douglas Adams-ish sort of thing. Could be cool.
Okay, so gameplay. I'm seeing this as sort of like a lot of the stuff is sort of happening in this person's head. Sort of like they're trying to work through their feelings and also trying to work through what actually happened to get them in there. So it's sort of like
there's like flashbacks, but there may be like an unreliable narrator kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a couple of run-throughs of The Evil Within recently. And that's got like this really cool world-bending sort of stuff going on, where they'll be in a room and they'll turn around, and then all of a sudden, there's like a hallway there that wasn't there before, sort of thing. Okay. I think this could work really well in an adventure game sort of point of view. Where it's more maybe a third-person adventure game.
Although, having said that, I do like messing with in a fairly classic 2D point and click, using the scrolling of the room to play with expectations around. Yeah, like you scroll one way and then when you walk back the other way, it's completely changed seamlessly.
I'm now seeing this 2D padded room just all of a sudden extend into like this old like Victorian mansion sort of thing. And then you walk through a door, and then you're back in like the TV room of the institution, or something like that. Like,
something like that. Like you get taken And basically it's sort of representing them coming in and out of, because I'm picturing, they're basically being drugged and sedated, because I don't want to paint them necessarily as like having like actually crazy or having visions or whatever. Like it's purely sort of a dream state as they are coming in and out of sedation. And yes, they've been put into this place and are trying to work things out, but nobody's sort of listening to them.
Yeah. And you could almost go into if you wanted to, the reason for this whole thing going on is like a Matrix style sort of computer that you're actually plugged into. So the whole thing was actually all playing out in your head sort of thing. So it was, you were never actually in like a,
you were never in an institution
in an institution itself, because in this world, like institutions don't actually exist. They just plug your brain into.
They just plug your brain. Okay. It's kind of like the egg or whatever or the cookie or whatever it was in Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Where they take your consciousness and like put you in there.
Yeah.
To sort of work you out, or like your sleeve, your stack in Altered Carbon or whatever.
So you could have a lot of fun with with like the orderlies and that sort of stuff. They're all the reason why dialogue options, keep repeating with them is because they're literally robots sort of thing. Like they're just software. The software or the AI.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that, there's like a doctor who is actually a human in there. And his dialogue is just a little bit different. Like, it doesn't repeat as much because basically you don't get the opportunity to talk to him as much.
You don't get the opportunity. Yeah. Like, he pops in and you have a conversation and you maybe get to go once through a dialogue tree and then he leaves. Like, you don't have the opportunity to
keep talking.
To exhaustively go through a dialogue tree like you would in a regular adventure game. Yeah, I definitely like playing with the tropes of adventure games and the expectations with dialogue and scrolling and even pointing and clicking and messing around with like, I don't know, like, what can we do with verbs that can sort of represent different things, and the ability or inability to do things in this state? Like, I don't know,
Well, I'm seeing that at one stage, like, your character may actually be in like some sort of straitjacket or something like that, so they can't use their hands. If they want to interact with something, they've got to use their mouth instead.
Yeah. Well, I was even going further of like, what if you have a remember verb and an imagine verb?
Oh, yeah.
like you make them a bit more ethereal and... It'd be interesting to write that stuff, but basically if you click remember on something, then it's your brain creating some sort of, association with a memory to do with that item.
Oh, I kind of like the idea that you can actually sort of look at something and it just tells you it is this. And it's like, then you got to click on the remember and it's like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, like my mum had one of these. And then.
Yeah, exactly. Like you learn, it's a way to get exposition and also to sort of figure out therapy as such.
I mean, if you actually click imagine on it and maybe he goes, oh, I'm imagining that I could probably craft this into something if I could only find this, so you could almost give hints.
Yeah, you could use it as a hint thing for sure. But I also like the idea, and I feel like we need to consult with someone on this sort of thing who is a bit more knowledgeable, because I feel like we could really screw it up. But like, if you've been given antidepressants or something, then your imagine button doesn't work anymore, or like that sort of thing. Like, or if you're depressed, like none of your sort of mental verbs work.
Yeah.
And all you can do is kind of stumble through the physical world. You could really play with some stuff around mental illness.
But in a healthy way that,
Yeah, look, this is the thing. I definitely would be in an attempt to do it well and not stigmatize in the slightest.
Exactly.
And this is our little disclaimer, because we just want to make sure that we're not, hurting anyone with these ideas. But I think there's a lot of potential there for doing that well.
And really, if it's done well and it actually, discusses some of the misconceptions.
Well, and look, I've suffered from depression, and I'm not worried about saying that. I suffered and suffer from depression. It hasn't been the reason I'd have trouble doing this is, for one, I'm not a fantastic writer, so tapping into that and sort of finding my perspective on it would be tricky for me. But two, I've been lucky enough that it hasn't been so sort of deep and debilitating that I've had the worst of it that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
But having said that, I know how, I do relate, and I can understand, how different things can affect you and how drugs can affect you. And I think it'd be really interesting to explore that in a video game about mental illness in a point-and-click adventure, also messing around with point-and-click adventure tropes. And let's move on.
Yes.
Because that's basically it. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, click. Vanishing tackling.
Assisted scream.
Okay. This is a sports game.
Okay.
We don't do many sports games on this show.
No. Because
you and I don't really play them. But in this case, I think this is a haunted sports game of some sort, or it's like sports that monsters play, right? Because I'm thinking vanishing is like ghosts and things, or I don't know, other things that can vanish. And then obviously you've got scream in there and assists.
Yep. Screams are obviously ghosts. They're wailing more than screaming, but they're still...
Well, yeah, or just causing other people to scream. Maybe the ball is a fucking screaming severed head. I don't know.
Okay. So what sort of game is it?
So is this based on a real sport? Are we sort of going to come up with what sort of sport a monster would play, or monsters would play? What are the limitations on the teams and powers?
Okay. So when I was younger and in high school, I think it was one of my friends who came up with an idea for basketball or something around that.
Okay. Is this like basketball with ice skates?
No. So
No?
I'm now realizing the basketball actually came from How I Met Your Mother, but it was something around that, in the fact that you were playing basketball, but it had the same sort of rules as ice hockey, that you could check people. So basically it was a very violent basketball game. I think the idea of being able to use powers and stuff in a basketball style game could actually be really quite cool.
All right, well, let's do that for a few reasons. One, it's a game that most people know the rules of in general. Two, it's a very common video game sport anyway, and so we can build off of that a bit, NBA Jam style. Because I'm thinking maybe 3-on-3 sort of thing.
Yeah, 3-on-3
or 4-on-4 or whatever. So you're not crowding the court.
The court itself is basically in an enclosed rink. It is not ice, but it's got walls. So basically, you've
got the glass walls like ice hockey.
Yeah, there's basically no way to lose the ball outside of court. Basically, you can slam people into walls. You can use, I don't know, throw severed heads. You can. So
from a meta point of view, I want this to be the next big esport.
Yeah.
Right. So we've got to make sure it's balanced.
Yes.
We've got to make sure there's sort of a skill kind of ladder. That the more you play, you can definitely get more skilled at this, and there are ways to do advanced moves and stuff. You're definitely a bit more engaged with any sort of esports than I am, just because you've watched some Overwatch tournaments and different things. But what do you think we need here to balance this well and make this into a money-making esports phenomenon? Well,
I think you've got to sort of take it from an Overwatch or an Apex Legends sort of thing, that you can choose your hero, but those heroes are versions of classic monsters, basically. That you've got the sort of ghost support that can sort of turn ethereal and sort of mess around with the other team. Ghosts can see other ghosts.
All right, so let's figure out these. Because we're talking basketball.
Yeah.
Are we going the standard kind of side court view that scrolls back and forth? Do you think? Or do we take this in a more tactical, kind of over-the-shoulder perspective?
Yeah, so I want each player to have an over-the-shoulder sort of view.
Okay, so it's more like a squad-based shooter sort of thing, but you're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Is this court the same size?
Huh?
Or are we going a bigger court?
Slightly bigger court.
Okay. Not too big, I don't want it to be massive, but yeah.
It's sort of maybe soccer pitch size. So it's...
I think even small. I think halfway between basketball court and soccer pitch.
So maybe an ice hockey size then, because I think ice hockey is actually a little bit bigger than basketball, but...
Yes. Yeah, I think stick with the ice hockey in that. And you've got the glass walls all around. You can see the people watching, the spectators. All right, so what sort of characters have we got? We've got like a Frankenstein's monster who's sort of a tank, can just bust through people to get the ball close to the...
Yeah, and basically is an amazing point guard. Can stop people from scoring. But the problem is he's slow.
Yes.
So then you've got like the faster sort of character of like a vampire or something like that. Now...
I think a vampire can definitely turn into a bat, but it can't carry the ball while in bat form.
No.
So it's like a traversal way to sort of get to a good point of like, I'm open.
Mm-hmm.
But it's maybe also vulnerable when it's in the air. Like, I don't know if there's full on attacks, but there's at least like moves that can be done to, like stun people or subdue them or something like,
yep.
Or maybe even just take them out of the bat form.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that obviously when you have the ball, you don't have your powers because I think that's.
I think it depends. I think maybe it switches up your powers in that I think you've got certain powers that are only active while you've got the ball.
Yeah. So they're more defensive powers. Basically, you've got offensive and defensive powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah, basically,
if you've got the ball, I'm thinking it's very, very similar to, I'm thinking like NBA Jam or something like that, where you can lose the ball very easily by being hit, basically. So if you've got a small shield or something like that while you got the ball, bing, 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 they knock out your shield and you lose the ball.
Yeah, the mummy is like more shielded because the bandages.
Yep.
So as the mummy gets hit, and I don't know what they're getting hit by at this point because I guess it depends on.
If you're Frankenstein, then you're throwing bolts.
Okay, so do they all, does everyone have, projectile weapons, though, or does it depend on the character?
Depends on the character. I think mummies actually have, a melee weapon, and that is that they whip out their bandages to basically, they can trip people, they can, they're sort of like more crowd control.
Yeah, yep.
Ghosts can, basically...
Well, ghosts are definitely, stealthed, right? They can...
They can dack...
They can dack them. I'm just thinking they can steal the ball because they can pop up right next to them and do the steal move without and they have the element of surprise there, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're also quite fast when they're hidden.
Yes.
But they've got a limited pool, a limited a cooldown on it, of course.
It's kind of like in Overwatch how I can't remember the hero's name that can actually go invisible for a while.
Sombra,
yeah. So it can go invisible and all that sort of stuff. So basically only other ghosts can actually see.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a strategy as well. If you see they've got a ghost on their team, then you might want to put a ghost on your team too, just so you can track them. But again, you can only see them if you're invisible. If you're invisible too, it's sort of almost a dimensional thing.
Yeah. If you're looking around and you go, oh crap, they've gone invisible. Okay, need to go invisible. Oh, I'm waiting for the cooldown because I just went invisible 3 seconds ago. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Werewolves. Where do werewolves come in? They're obviously also fairly tank-ish, I would think. Do they switch for... Maybe they become a werewolf when they get the ball or vice versa or something? Actually, I kind of like when they get the ball, they turn into a naked human.
And they can't move as fast.
But they're fucking good at dunking. It's a human who's fucking good at dunking. But I like that because that actually means it's okay... If you pass to the werewolf, yes, they're going to turn back into a human, but if we protect them, then we're more likely to get some points, right? They're good at shooting or they're good at dunking or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're just weak and fleshy.
I like the idea that there's a Van Helsing style character that you can also play that can basically hunt down the monsters, but is very squishy. As well.
Well, I think they're just look, they're obviously just another player, but I think they have weapons. They just have weapons, right? They are an attack class who, if someone gets the ball or they see the fucking werewolf get the ball, it's fucking crossbow, bam, that human is dead. I like that.
Well, I like the idea that there's nothing to actually kill anyone. Because you don't want someone's hero being totally taken out.
These are all monsters. When I say kill, I think they get killed, they drop the ball, they turn back into werewolf, they're fine.
They go through that grisly transformation every time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
it's a 1.5 second transformation. It's like
you'd have to make it pretty. You'd have to make it pretty quick.
Oh yeah, that's why I said 1.5 seconds.
Still, there's a exactly, yeah. Zombies, a zombie character.
Yeah. They can fling like their limbs at people.
Maybe they can fucking infect people
And make him slower.
Yeah, maybe it's just something like that. Maybe it makes them slower. What
type of zombie are we looking at? Are we looking at like the slow-moving Walking Dead-ish or Night of the Living Dead style zombie, or are we going for running like, the 28 Days Later sort of thing?
I think somewhere in between, like not full-on like running, galloping kind of zombies, but more than shambling.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the way sometimes shambling zombies will get when they're excited. Like they'll still be sort of running after you, but they're not like galloping super fast. And maybe it's in bursts.
I love the idea that they get like this renewed sort of stamina whenever they see a werewolf grab the ball, because they turn into a human and they go, oh, human, and then they get like
yeah, perhaps
or a Van Helsing on the other side or something like that. Basically,
they could definitely have some sort of advantage against the human character. Yeah, like it'd be interesting to create those sort of like rock paper scissors relationships between the different heroes, or player types, to make it more interesting. Like, what do you choose for this 3-on-3 or 4-on-4?
Yeah, my question is, do you need to have like a rock paper scissors lizard Spock style where you can't quite match up against all their other players?
Yeah, look, I think I don't know. It's probably impossible to go full on like rock paper scissors where one will always, because you don't want one to always dominate the others. It's a lighter rock paper scissors, but it's more of an advantage disadvantage system, I think, for certain types. And you'd have to balance that well.
Yeah, and you got to be obviously very careful with the meta and all that sort of stuff, like making sure that all the players are balanced, all the heroes are balanced.
Yeah,
and
that's not up to us. That's up to the gameplay designers.
We're just the ideas men.
Yeah. Do we have like alien, some sort of like a alien creature or something? Maybe.
Yeah, it's a pineapple-headed alien.
I'm more thinking like a grey alien, like the classic kind of telekinetic style.
Yep. Okay, but the manager of the team is a pineapple-headed alien.
Okay, that's just a callback.
And of course, you need like the sadistic dentist.
Well, that's also one of the managers. I think you have random managers that you get.
Well, I was thinking that you've got sort of like Frankenstein's monster. Well, you can have Dr. Frankenstein as well. It's just that Dr. Frankenstein is a crazy dentist.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm now wondering, can we actually do kind of like what Dead by Daylight did, and like get some licensed DLC characters of like your typical movie.
I'm sure once we fucking get
then
popular enough,
then you can have Freddy and Michael Myers and
bring some gremlins in maybe.
But you don't control one gremlin. You control like three
it's like
of them.
A horde of them. Yeah.
And if they get wet, then you control more.
You always want to put gremlins up against the creature from the Black Lagoon who's dripping water everywhere, because if you get close, you just like spawn more gremlins.
So then it becomes like you need a Van Helsing character on your team to basically take out all the gremlins.
Yeah, you need some. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Bring Pennywise in. He's just like floating around on balloons, turning into fucking spider creatures.
Yeah,
the Stranger Things Demogorgon.
Oh, jeez. And on the other side, you got 11. But she's lost her powers.
Yeah. She's lost her powers. She's just a fucking 11-year-old girl or whatever.
I had to say it. Okay, that sounds really quite cool. I can't wait to see who could actually make that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that could be really cool. I'd actually really like to see a like Overwatch style, Apex style, like hero-based sports game for sure. That'd be awesome.
It's kind of like a cross between Rocket League and
yes, yeah, and Overwatch or something. Yeah.
Actually having some skills that you got to do in there. That'd be cool. Someone come up with it.
3, 2, 1, click.
Wretched Wrath.
Sneaking duration. So like Wrath, like W-R-A-T-H?
Yes. Wrath of Khan.
Khan! I mean, sneaking duration makes me think of some sort of sneaking meter that you've got. Like a cooldown on your sneaking. I mean, you could go a 7 Deadly Sins sort of thing with Wrath.
Yep.
What are the other ones?
Lust,
Gluttony, Greed, Sloth, Envy, Pride, and Wrath. So it's a hero-based shooter. You play one of the 7 Deadly Sins. No. I kind of like the idea of a roguelike, actually, in some way. Yep. I mean, I know Binding of Isaac has a lot of the 7 Deadly Sins sort of stuff in there, but
you don't play a personification of one of the 7 Deadly Sins.
I think it's that you have 7 lives. And, this could be interesting. You've got 7 lives, but you can play the different sins in any order.
Yep.
And one run is your 7 lives. And so you pick up, like, as you pick up items and things, they might go better with certain characters, with certain sins.
Yep.
But it's like, oh shit, I played Sloth first, and now I've picked up a really good Sloth item, but I'm on to Lust.
Yep. And Gluttony, well, he was eating all the pies, but they were really shitty pies, and now he's got really nice cupcakes and stuff, but he's already dead.
Yeah, exactly. So what sort of gameplay would this be? Is this some sort of like third-person action brawler or something, but with roguelike like, I don't know. I'm always thinking like what's the
Darksiders, yeah.
Darksiders, or like a God of War or something like a.
I'm thinking because you said roguelike, I like the idea of like maybe even an MC Escher sort of roguelike in the fact that you're going through like this weird and wonderful world that is sort of like all topsy turvy and like shit really shouldn't be able to go up that staircase and come out like over there.
Yeah, that could be cool, especially if it's because you obviously wouldn't want to fuck people around where they have to actually navigate that space. But if it's more of a just you must continue moving forward and you've maybe got some options in the directions you take, but you don't have to backtrack. You don't have to sort of find your way around a map. It's more of an aesthetic thing where, you might be fighting a bunch of creatures down here and you see other ones like running across the ceiling or whatever, and you turn around and realize the ceiling like curves around and joins onto the floor behind you or something. Like, just cool non-Euclidean geometry sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That would definitely be cool.
I actually saw something on Reddit just earlier today that someone has actually made like something in Unity in which you can run around like a non-Euclidean sort of area. Yeah, jump like between the different staircases going in all different ways. It's just that basically they've got volumes on all the stairs that basically change the gravity position.
That's cool.
And it's like
that sort of thing would definitely be cool.
And if you did it in such a way that basically all the rooms could link up via some system that you have, basically you could set up a full 3D maze.
Yeah, potentially. Either that or you just do it more as like an endless kind of, not an endless runner, but like an endless brawler sort of thing where you go into the next room and it generates it so it connects up, and it might be connected up in some weird way where the gravity changes and the world shifts or whatever. But you don't ever need to go backwards kind of thing.
You can if you want, but
I'm actually thinking though, what if this is VR?
How fucked that would be.
That would be fucked, but it would be fun. And you could really mess around with some stuff. And it's more around, it's almost like a horde shooter or brawler. Like you could use some of the like Gorn kind of stuff where you've got different weapons and different attacks. And it's like up close combat. So you're not having like hordes and maybe not having like hordes and hordes of people. You've got like 4 or 5 attacking you at once, but it's really like, oh shit, there's one behind me. Like, throw a knife at them and then swing around and whack them with the fucking bat that I've got or whatever. I don't know. Like, we need to figure out where the sins come into it, but
yeah.
I think the sins, whichever sin you're playing is more just about, particular special powers you have and how the items affect you in different ways.
Yeah, or it's one of those things of when you think about City of Brass or something like that.
Yeah.
Where, you know, as you went through the different runs, basically when you died, anything that you sort of found you got to keep and got to increase yourself. Maybe you've actually got 7 different the 7 different sins are basically 7 different characters in which you can take through, and you're leveling them up individually, but the way that you level them up is actually from other sins. So say lust finds something for gluttony, and so now you can power up gluttony and get a little bit further in gluttony. And
yeah, that's good. Yeah, you find sort of sin specific or character specific power-ups and stuff as you play.
Yep.
And yeah, it might be that, okay, I'm really good at Wrath, but because I'm good at Wrath, I'm getting further and I'm getting more stuff for Sloth, and so now I can, like, move Sloth further on because they're more powered up or whatever.
Yeah, and I like the idea that, you know, it's sort of locked down at the start, that you can, you sort of know that, okay, in order to get past this first room for Sloth, I need to actually find some sort of item. You know, so you sort of lock down to like 2 or 3 different sins at the start until finally they all sort of unlock.
Oh, maybe. I was still thinking that you literally each run end up playing all 7. It's just that, like, it's like, fuck, like my greed died. I'm on to envy, and I haven't managed to power up my envy, and I'm shit at envy because, like, you know, their specific powers just don't work well with me, and so I'm not going to be able to get past this room, and I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to have to move on to pride, or something like that. Like, I think it is interesting that you are forced to play all 7 each time. But yes, as you then finish a run, it's like, okay, well, this run I got, you know, 3 gluttony items and 2 lust items and a pride item, so I can get some points and level them up better or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like the idea of, you know, you got at least 1, maybe 2 different characters that have to work together to allow the other one to go a little bit further. Bringing it into the 7 may go a little bit overboard.
Maybe. I mean, I can see that maybe you have some synergies between particular ones where if I don't know, if you do certain things in a level, you're more likely to get a certain type of item, or I don't know, something. That's details.
I'm just wondering how Sloth would actually go through levels.
I mean, there's so many different ways to actually personify these sins, right? But yes, it could be that, like, Sloth is pretty fucking slow. Or maybe when you get to Sloth, you literally can't move. Like, you can't actually progress a level as Sloth, but they're really damaging in other ways. You unlock a bunch of items in that level if you do well as Sloth because you killed so many enemies. Yeah.
The way I sort of see Sloth as maybe trying to take the quickest route so that they don't have to do as much.
Okay, yeah.
So it's almost like Sloth is like the speedrun sort of version that you're trying to get through as quickly as possible.
That's interesting, actually. You could actually make Sloth like the fastest, but their limitation is, like, you can't go down side areas and stuff to find more stuff. So as Sloth, you literally have to take the quickest path through a level. And for anyone who's played roguelikes, like, you know, often a good strategy is to grind a level more and, like, make sure you complete a whole level so that you have more powerful and more items when you move on to the next level. But yeah, Sloth literally can't do that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take on that, because they're just like, fuck this, I want to get through this as quick as possible.
Yeah. They're basically the ones who want to sit back and just do as little work possible to actually do something.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. Envy could be an interesting one in that, like, that maybe their skills or something is based on whoever you've played previously,
and they're just envious of
they're like they're like mimicking them in some way. They're like, oh, I really like that item, so I'm going to try to use it too, but it's, like, less effective. I don't know, something like that. Like, they get all the items. Like, it's good to play them late, but because they'll like get lesser versions of all the items the other ones picked up, or something like that. You know what I mean?
I'm literally seeing that gluttony is probably the most disgusting one out of all of them, because the way that he fights all the enemies is he eats them, is basically gluttony as a zombie.
Okay. That's interesting. Because I'm still picturing this as a VR game. So do you have to like pull enemies towards you and shove them into your face?
Basically,
some way?
if you grab an enemy and you pull them close,
you take a chunk.
You go to Chowtown. Yeah,
you go to Chowtown. I like it. Pride can only take a single hit.
He goes, ow, that really hurt.
No, it's just like they can't take the fact that they got hit. Yeah. It's like, no,
it's basically,
this couldn't happen to me.
It's pretty much like one of those awesome Dark Souls players where they're just, running around everywhere.
Yeah. Wrath, I think, is
just ultra violent.
Obviously, just a damage dealer, and like if they get hit, then they start doing more damage, like a rage mechanic or something.
Yeah, it's effectively a barbarian from D&D.
Yeah. Greed, I think, is all about the items.
Mm-hmm. And hoarding them all.
Something like, they have stuff around. They'll either get more items, or the more items they have, the more damage they do, or something like that. And then lust just ejaculates everywhere.
Arcing ropes of jism.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah, we'll do one more, then we'll go into the last.
Yep.
Ooh, this is interesting.
Oh. Okay.
Physic amplifier.
Oh. Mine's interesting as well, though not in a way that goes along with yours. Anticipated stranger. I feel like that's an interesting juxtaposition. Anticipated stranger.
And physic amplifier.
Physic amplifier.
So when I think physics, I think, using like physics inside the game, the physics engine.
Yep.
I like the idea that basically you've got an amplifier on your hands or whatever. So when you throw something, it goes like super, super fast.
Okay, so it's literally amplifying the physical...
The physics of what you interact with.
Okay. All right, so I think what we've maybe got here is that your words speak to the gameplay and my words speak to the story hook.
Yeah, I like that.
The other thing I was thinking from Amplify made me think of like speakers or music. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if this is based around like a band. Some sort of story around a band with superpowers. Maybe they're called Kurodust.
So I was going to bury the lead a little bit.
No, but it could be some interesting... Yeah, it could be some sort of music-themed sort of thing.
So what, the bass player can, like... vibrate so fast that he can, like, melt through bars and shit.
Something like that. The guitarist just plays killer solos that are literally killer. I can't remember the things we did.
Yeah, so long ago.
Anyway.
Go listen to Containment Failure, second song, Kurodust.
Yeah, it's all about our powers.
Yeah.
We did a fucking concept album, apparently. No, but I do like the idea of it being somewhat sort of music-themed, rock-themed. Like, that's always a fun aesthetic.
And what were your words again?
Anticipated stranger.
Yeah. So I like the idea that the stranger that comes in is one of those mysterious strangers that turns out to be an agent of the devil or something like that.
Oh,
in the
okay.
fact that
I thought you were going to say like an agent of a record company.
No. I'm thinking that basically the reason why these powers have been given to these band members is because they actually signed like their souls over.
Okay, what? Yeah, like this is a band that's full on kind of Satan metal kind of like themes. But
no, even better, Christian rock.
Well, no, but the reason I was thinking that is this is like all their lyrics and all their stuff is around like the occult and Satan and whatever, because it's just a thing that is done in metal, right? Mm-hmm. They don't believe it. They don't actually like. It's just a theme. It's just an aesthetic for them. But like Satan has heard it and is into it. And
wants to sign them onto his hit squad.
Yeah, basically. And so now you've got these people who are just like, oh, fuck, like, all right. I'm just a fucking drummer, but I guess I'll kill demons or angels or I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I like the idea that basically hell has run amok, and the sort of lyrics that the band were talking about are all about
about like invading heaven or something.
Yeah, and waging a war against rogue demons or something like that. And so the devil sends his agent up there to basically get you to sign their contract. To go and hunt all the rogue demons /
I love
other
the
angels.
idea that they sign the contract thinking it's a record contract, but it's actually signing their souls away to Satan.
Yep.
To fight in his fucking demonic army.
Fuck yeah.
All right, is this end up being like a fucking squad shooter or something then? Like I kind of like the idea of this being like an FPS or something then, in a way.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that, yes, this is an FPS, but instead of having multiple people playing in a co-op sort of game, you get to choose your band member for each sort of mission.
Okay. And they've all got their different instrument related powers.
Yeah.
So in the like amplified physics way, the drummer can just like launch a drumstick into something's skull.
Oh yeah. What I like the idea of, though, is it turns out the powers were in them all along, and it wasn't their instruments that they were given by this demon agent.
Agent of Beelzebub, yep. Wait, so even before Satan recruited them?
Well, I think that they think, these powers have been given to them via these new instruments that they've got, and then it turns out that, when these instruments are destroyed by, the leader of these rogue demons, then turns out that no, the power's inside them, and it's got nothing to do with these awesome
new instruments. The real power is friendship, and bandmateship, and also this rockin' fucking vocal lick. Because I don't need an instrument, I'm a singer. God damn it!
Head just a master exploder.
Yes. I do not need a microphone. I
my
like
voice is fucking. I just love the fact that Kyle emphasizes fucking.
Oh, right. He does his little whisper in the background. Yeah. Fuck, that's a good album.
That's a good movie.
And movie, yeah, absolutely. All right. I like that. I think we'll move on, though, to our final click picture. Our final segment of the evening or day, whenever you're listening to this. It's evening for us.
Yes.
Did you want to enter? We have a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
There is a dead body in a coffin. Looks like a man. You can only see the top of their head, but they're quite balding, so I'm assuming it's a man.
Yes. Got a red tie on.
Yeah, that's important. Yellow flowers. There's a woman sort of looks like kneeling next to the coffin, unless it's a very high coffin, with a very kind of sinister look on her face, kind of stroking his arm.
Yep. I'm getting a very misery vibe from her.
Interesting. I feel like this picture has been flipped because surely that's meant to be a wedding ring, but it is on her right hand in this picture. I suspect it's a flipped picture and it's meant to be on her left hand. Or maybe it's irrelevant. I don't know, but she does have a ring on a ring finger of her right hand. Now,
she's like literally staring through the camera.
Oh, and she's looking right. Yes, she's like, yeah, you know what I did.
I swear, she just moved.
Oh shit! It's on her left hand now.
See, this coffin looks kind of.
She does also have a ring on her left ring finger, so she's just. I guess one's her engagement ring. Or something. Is that how that works?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
The coffin is rather unusual. It's got like lots of frilly stuff around. It looks almost like a big version of a bassinet.
Okay. Is this a Benjamin Button situation? Is this a baby? Is this a man baby?
Yeah, okay. It's a man baby. Or it's a Jack situation. Where
they've just grown up super fast.
Grew up extremely fast.
Why is she looking in this manner? Why does she look like this? Has she killed this person? Is she about to kill you?
I think her name is Rosemary, and this is Rosemary's baby.
I don't actually know that story.
Let's go with she married this billionaire.
Okay.
And
knocked him off for his money.
Yeah, and she's basically this is at the end of the prologue is basically you see her look directly into the camera and smile as she's supposedly weeping to everyone else.
Okay.
And it leads you to believe.
Do you play her?
I think you play his spirit.
That's where I was going to go to. Okay. I do want to be wary of the gold digger trope of taking that too far, but yes.
Oh no, she was already rich. Like I think this is just that she really didn't like this guy.
Okay, he was just a prick.
Yeah.
Okay, but you play him.
You play him and you realize what a prick you were, and that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It could be sort of a bit of a
Christmas Carol
least,
sort of.
If not a redemption story, then at least a kind of recognition of your own shittiness story.
Yeah, and then you realize the reason why you've seen this is so that when you go to hell, you know why.
Yeah. You don't get a second chance.
No.
It's like, no, you fucked up. We just wanted to make sure you knew you fucked up.
Yeah.
Actually, that's an interesting thing. I like that idea of before you go to hell, like you're put through enough stuff to make you regret all the things you did that are sending you to hell, and then you just like go to hell.
Yep.
And are tortured forever.
Well,
it's part of the torture.
Whether it's, hell is what everyone sort of thinks of, or whether the torture itself is actually knowing that you did something wrong and now you've got to atone for that. Like, and how you atone isn't through like the typical torture that everyone knows, but it's more
right. It's just through having to relive it or having to
self-reflection
or see like the repercussions of it. Or yeah, that's interesting. How is this a game, Trevor?
Well, I'm seeing it as like an almost Gone Home sort of walking sim, but you're a ghost.
You're a ghost
that can walk through walls. That could
be interesting. Yeah, being able to decorporealize and travel through solid objects.
And basically, you get to listen to conversations.
Yeah.
At your wake, you get to go through all these different places and sort of. You think, oh, yeah, this is kind of cool. I can spy on this person as they're doing this, and they start talking about, how they never liked you and all this sort of stuff. And
do you have a guide through this in the Christmas Carol way? Is there like someone taking you to sort of the appropriate moments, or?
Yeah, I like the idea of like a death-like figure. But the death-like figure is you got the big black hood, you've got the big scythe. But then when the hood gets taken off later on, you find out that it's actually the ex-wife / the one who killed you is also your Reaper sort of thing. And she's sort of explaining what actually happened. So this
okay, like the Reaper sort of takes the form of your your victim as such, or your
biggest regret, or
the one most affected by your actions.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
And then you've got this amazing actress who can sort of portray this girl who's now getting along with her life. Maybe as you find out, like you were actually the gold digger. You married her because she was the rich one, and
right.
You're sort of flipping that expectation of she's not the gold digger at all. She's the one who's always had the money. It's her family's money. Like it's her family's.
Or like she worked for it, like she actually earned it.
Yeah.
In some, and yeah, I don't even know. You don't necessarily even have to go that they were super rich, but they were she'd gotten to the point where she was well off due to successful business dealings and like building up businesses and different things. And then, you've basically left her, destitute.
And then when
when
it goes back to the prologue, you actually find out that the woman who was smiling into the camera is actually the Reaper.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah,
and that's the reason.
That makes a bit more sense. Because did she still kill him?
No, I think you get that trope sort of flipped on its head. That
okay, you think initially
because she looks evil as fuck, and she's looking into the camera and all this sort of stuff, and it turns out that no, she is actually at the back of the room in this camera thing. If you actually followed and saw in like the little animation that happens before this, you actually see that she's sitting in the back of the room, crying with her parents or something like that.
You don't see that till the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. I like that. I like flipping that on its head. And that you set that expectation to the player of, oh shit, like she killed him, and you're seeing things from the past, you're seeing things from the present, you're seeing things from the future. I think you go through that as well, because you want to see what the repercussions are, but you also want to see how you got there. And you're thinking the whole time, like, oh, like at what point is she going to snap? Like, when's she going to kill him? And then, like you reveal at the end, it's like, oh no, like there was some other mode of death. It was like a business partner or a fucking, maybe it was her mother or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's actually quite upset about it.
Yeah. And then it shows that this Reaper thing has been interacting with the world somewhat.
Or it may even just be a visual, like it may even just be like, oh, well, the Reaper's here to like, take his soul for the final time or whatever. Like, I don't know. It might even be that the others can't see her at that point.
And then it zooms in on the ring and you see like some skull on the ring or something like that. And you basically, you've been seeing that ring the entire time. And that's when you realize that she's
you make it clear. Yeah, you make it pretty clear that, like that scene we saw at the start. Oh, she was the Reaper the whole time. And it was just to set an expectation.
Yeah. And what I really like about that is that it's flipping those typical tropes on their head. It's also,
absolutely.
It's giving her, a reasonable story. The fact that you kind of feel bad for thinking that, she's committed this murder to try and get at his money, but it turns out that no, she's the one who had the money the whole time.
Yeah, she's not a murderer. She actually loved him and was betrayed by him, basically.
Yeah. And, basically he had gambling debts and all this sort of stuff. Had been stealing all the money out of her accounts and scary shit like that.
Yeah, that's all. I like that. I like that arc. That's an interesting play on those tropes for sure.
Yeah,
cool.
That's why I like getting these photos every now and again, because you come up with a story that you never would have come up with.
I think it definitely takes us in a different path than we'd otherwise go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we will finish up there tonight. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find us online and find all of our other episodes, go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. We've got a huge backlog, hundreds of game designs that we've made over the years. You'll find something that strikes your fancy and makes you laugh, I hope. We are also part of the 8-Bit Collective, and this is a group of podcasts in Australia about pop culture and video games, and there are some actual play role-playing games and a ton of great stuff. So go to 8bit.net, check them out. Also go to patreon.com/weare8bit, I believe. Is that right, Trevor?
Yes.
Support 8bit on Patreon. It helps us. It helps the rest of the 8bit crew. And this, I think, until the end of July, maybe?
End of July.
Actually, all the proceeds from that are going to Black Lives Matter related charities, which is very important.
Very important. Another group that we're involved with is the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. They're a podcast network of like-minded people who just enjoy everything gaming and podcasting and Australasian. So just check out the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook or at AGP Network on Twitter for all that goodness. And finally, we'd like to thank Kurodust for the use of the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure, which if you check it out, then you can check out all our mystical powers from the second song.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I want to dunk your ball.
Brains.
3-pointer.
He's on fire.
I'm open.